Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Falcon Center Show. Once again, I have my co-host, Ricky Baptist.
Thanks, Brandon.
Well, Ricky, starting to wrap the year up. Softball and baseball just ended their season this weekend. Same thing with women's tennis and women's golf. And so, kind of to start with that softball, senior day this past week.
Yeah.
Kind of a great end to the day. Kind of getting that first win, that first game win against Western New Mexico, and then kind of lost the second one, but at least that first game was pretty good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Not the easiest of seasons, but, it's always good to get a win, kind of like you said there on that last day on senior day. And it's both really exciting games, to be honest.
Yeah.
11-9 to win there in game one. Super high scoring, get an early lead, 5-1. Lose the lead and then be able to show that fortitude and kind of come back, I think, was really fun to see. And then similarly in game two, score 3 runs in the bottom of the sixth to tie the game. Not able to pull it out of the end, but again, kind of showing that fighting spirit to kind of come back. So no quit in the team, and I think we saw that kind of throughout the season, but we definitely saw it on blast this weekend for sure. So yeah, I think just good spirit, good fight from the team. The seniors each had good senior days. Michaela Baker hit a home run, on her senior day. Samantha Rodriguez scored 2 runs there in the game 1 win, 11-9 win, 2 runs make a difference. So just good all-around performance. Megan Gaddis picking up her first win of the season there in that game, which is really big for her. And a good way to end the year there. And we'll see what it builds the next year. We have no idea what the team will look like and all that, but just like you said, high spirits after that win on Sunday.
Oh yeah, kind of like you mentioned. We're up 5-1. They come back, get that 6-run inning. Now it looks like again that little kind of that trend of here's that one bad inning, but they responded, they bounced back and came away with the victory. So it's kind of like you said, they fought all year. Now they kind of shown that when they have that one bad inning, they can actually bounce back and respond.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, the 6-run inning, and then answer back, the next inning with the 5-run inning themselves. So, I think we saw a little bit of it on Friday, against Eastern New Mexico, that they kind of started to have that confidence and, weren't able to get any wins out of it. But then it kind of all came together on Sunday a little bit. And then it's hard to win in our league, in any sport. That's one thing we've talked about. And So just really fun day to end the season.
Oh yeah, and like we mentioned there, wrapped the season up, finished 9-45 overall, 4-40 in LSC play, which is 2 games better than last year's overall record.
Yep.
And kind of looking at this season compared to last season, they had a better batting average, 235 more hits, 309 more RBIs, 127. And stole 38 bases. Last year, also kind of even looking at the pitching, our ERA was 6.62, 197 strikeouts, and 215 walks. And you look kind of last year's batting average was 220. We had 259 hits, only 108 RBIs, 16 stolen bases. Our ERA was a 7.02, 140 strikeouts, 261 walks. And so it's like you look at that, kind of that slow growth that we've had from last year to this year. It kind of shows us, while the record wasn't what we wanted to, at least the team proved that they did get better.
Yeah, I mean, stolen bases are more than doubled, it looks like. You talked, the difference in batting average of, 25 points, it looks like. And then the one that kind of stood out to me, even before seeing last year's numbers, was the ERA, down there around 6.5, which, to me is kind of pretty respectable, for softball, we talk about our baseball team and then the Lone Star Conference in general, in that sport. ERAs, it's not uncommon for ERAs to be up in the 8, 9, or 10 range. So, 6.5 runs per softball game, you're giving yourself a chance to win games there. So that was the number that jumped out to me for sure.
And can you kind of mention that stolen bases? Carrie Sanford, 11 on 11.
Yep.
So she had a great year stealing the bases, and shoot, she got on first, she was gone.
Yeah, and led the team in batting average. She'll have a chance to be all conference potentially this season. So great leadoff hitter, pretty solid shortstop. Definitely one of a few fun players to watch on the team this year. Some young talent. We'll talk sophomore Emery Aguilar, freshman Carly Quintero, and Jessica Cantrell. So there's some talent there for sure. But yeah, great year for Sanford. And really Emery, kind of those 1-2 spots in the lineup were definitely fun to watch this season.
Oh yeah. What a sad it's over, but hey, hopefully they're better next year. Kind of moving on to another team that kind of improved from where they started, baseball.
Yep.
picked up 2 wins kind of to end their series against LCU, who is actually 4th in the conference. So
Yeah.
not a bad way to end your season.
Not at all. No, we'll talk about how they ended and over these last 2 months. But just kind of focusing on LCU, like you said, that's a team that's top 4 in the conference. Last week at St. Mary's, they were taking on a team that was also top 4 in the conference at the time. Beat them, 2 out of the 4 games. Really could have won 3 out of the 4. And then coming this weekend against LCU, potentially again could have won 3 out of the 4. Kind of let one get away during Game 1 of the doubleheader on Saturday. But then bounce back in Game 2. Timmy LaChapa going for the complete game.
Yep.
I believe that was his 4th complete game of the season. Kind of breaking records, the first time since 2016 that someone's hit that number here at UTPB. So just really great gutsy performance from him, throwing over, I think it was 130 pitches again. That's something that's kind of common for him at this point. And only a freshman, so something to build on, a great season. That was his 3rd win of the year, beat 2 nationally ranked teams before that, so something to build on. And then kind of going into the next game, one of the senior pitchers, Trevor Barth, finished his career with the bang, getting his 4th win in a row here to finish the season, only giving up 1 run in 6 1/3 innings. Really gutsy, great performance by him. And then 2 seniors, Brock Robarts and Brian Adams, to try and finish off the game there. And like you said, LCU, really good team. They brought it down to the wire, making a 1-run game there in the last inning. But then kind of the theme of the weekend, for the 2nd game in a row, getting a strikeout to leave, who's on deck, Brevin McCool, the presumed LSC player of the year, who, not to get too much into him, but 30 home runs on the season, hit 2 during Game 1 on Friday of the series to break the conference record, has the conference record for home runs in a game, season, and a career now, but then finishes just 2 for 11 against the Falcons over the final 3 games of the series. So really kind of shut him down, and we saw that, like we said, with winning 2 of those games and almost having a chance to win all 3 of those games. You shut down the best player, you give yourself a chance to win, and the pitching staff really stepped up to the challenge, I think, from that front.
Oh, and you kind of mentioned that Game 4 was really close. All 8 of our runs come, 2nd inning?
Yeah, all in 1 inning,
So luckily, our defense kind of, while Lubbock Christian started making like a chipping away at it, they did enough. And then Brian Adams, once again, we strike out, who was it? Bowen. Back-to-back games, we strike him out to end the game.
And he's a real good leadoff hitter for them, too. It's not like you're striking out the 8 or the 9 hitter. He's a leadoff guy. That's his job, is to set the table for McCool. So be able to get him out in both games before McCool steps up. Not that they didn't make it scary anyway, but man, if McCool comes up, those are real scary situations.
You really,
Even if he's 2 for 11, you still probably don't feel great in those scenarios.
No, not at all. It's kind of like when you see Barry Bonds come up to the plate. You're like, well, can we walk him?
Yeah, you're in scoring position right now. Let's just put him on.
Yeah, you never know. You never let a hitter like that caliber.
But to your point, all the offense in that game kind of coming in just 1 inning, so the pitching and the defense really had to step up and carry the weight. And I think they did that. Again, big shout out to Trevor. Great way to finish his career. And then those other 2 seniors to close it out. Not an easy task against a team like LCU that wants that momentum going into the postseason and just didn't get it. The Falcons denied them. So a strong way to finish the season, and I know you'll tell us a little bit more about that.
And like you said, 20-30 overall, 19-29 in the Lone Star Conference, which is 9th. It's a lot better. They started the year 3-19.
Yep.
And so you look at month of April, they did really well, not losing the series.
Yep.
End up splitting 5 series throughout the year, having 2 series win, 1 series sweep.
Yep.
And so you look at, they really bounced back from where they started and turned things around pretty quickly.
Yeah, only lost 1 of their last 7 series of the season. Finished, during that span with a 17-11 overall record. So nothing to sneeze at. That turnaround, like you said, from 3-19 to 17-11 is extremely drastic. And it happened in a lot of different ways, a lot of really fun games. And I think that's one of my biggest takeaways, again, first year at UTPB is just been the Lone Star Conference is fun. And, you're never going to watch the same thing every weekend, on a given weekend. It's always going to be something different. I have a 16-12 game one time and then a 5-3 game another time, and we saw a 1-0 shutout in one game. So, you're going to get a little bit of everything, and I think that's what this team was able to show is they were able to win in a few different ways. They could score 23 runs if they needed to, or, they could grind out a low-scoring win if they needed to, and the pitching could help them.
Yeah, and kind of like you mentioned, with softball, who knows what the team looks like next year, When Coach Phillips got here, only had 12 players. He managed to turn these team into a really good team, and And you look at when our former baseball coach, Coach Grinder, was here, his first year here, he also finished ninth.
Yep.
And so you look at he went from finishing ninth in the conference, then that next season, his final season, fourth, competed in the Lone Star Conference Championship title game, and then made history again, making NCAA appearance and picking up the Falcons' first tournament victory. So, Coach Phillips is really on that kind of great trajectory. It's kind of hard. It's a hard coach to follow and live up to.
At the end of the day, though, a 20-win season's a 20-win season.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something they didn't do a ton even before Coach Grinder.
Yeah.
So, I do. It is an accomplishment, and big shoes to fill though this season. We talked about you're going to lose Nolan Lachapa and losing Trevor Barth, starting pitchers, but then on the offense, kind of your top four hitters, Jack Haggerty, Caleb Skoll, Carson Johnson, and Britton Rigtrup, all graduated and moving on. So that's gonna leave a really big hole, not just a hole, but at the whole start of the lineup there. Your first four hitters have to replace, and some good defenders there too. Jack Haggerty, one of the better defenders in the conference. So losing a lot for sure, and obviously filling a roster is something that's not new to Coach Phillips. Like you mentioned last year, he'll have his work cut out for him again, and we'll see what he's able to do on that front.
Oh yeah, it'll be another team that's exciting to kind of see how they do next year once Phillips gets to recruit his players and kind of get them in here and see what he can do. Because if he can get his players and kind of do what he did this year with the group of guys he kind of had to put together, who knows how good they can be.
And I know everyone was spoiled last year with how good football was in Coach McCullough's first season, but traditionally team building and culture building takes a little bit of time. It takes more than a season. And so I think that's what we could expect to see from a lot of our programs, baseball in particular, but other programs like swimming and diving and golf. We'll talk about having a great season, but can build upon that. Same thing with tennis. It usually just doesn't happen overnight.
No, not at all. Kind of moving on. Women's tennis under first-year head coach, Coach Tolson, they kind of had I would say they started off pretty hot, kind of beat Cameron for the first time in program history. Then, they played, like you said before, the Lone Star Conference is good across the board. Doesn't matter what sport, and they kind of ran into those kind of really tough
and
teams.
women's tennis is really tough because I think there's like 5 nationally ranked teams that they had to play there. 5 or 6 if I'm not mistaken. So, very, very difficult. Actually, though, finished with a winning record in doubles matches in the conference in terms of winning the doubles point. So, definitely something to build upon there. And, we saw some good singles performances as well throughout the season. So, and very close to, I think, Coach, Tolson's goal was for the women's team to be able to finish above .500 for the first time. Didn't get it done, but one match away from doing that. So I think that speaks well and bodes well for the future.
Oh yeah, and like you mentioned, it's kind of the third time our women's tennis team has finished with 8 wins. Actually, 3 straight years.
Oh, okay.
They've actually finished with 8 wins. The most in program history, kind of like Tolson was shooting for, is 9. Which happened in 2013, 2014, and the 2020-21 season.
Got it.
And so, that 9th win has been kind of elusive for the program for a while. So, but luckily, when you have a new coach, you think, will there be any drop-off? But Coach Tolson really managed to come in and kind of keep standard or kind of where they were at. So I think it's a kind of good thing to build on him. And shoot, he's been recruiting like crazy.
Yeah. No doubt. And then quick shout out for the number 1 doubles pair. Who was it again? Brooke Runyon.
Paige Bott.
And Paige Bott going 8-2 in singles this year and 6-2 at number 1 doubles. Not singles.
Yeah, that's a good pair. And we lose Brooke.
Yep.
So it'll be kind of like you kind of mentioned with baseball, losing a lot of good players on the women's team. So say Rhea Singh and was it Theodora? Yep. So yeah.
And we did mention baseball senior day was this weekend too. So emotional weekend. You were at Titus Senior Day a couple weeks ago. How was that experience?
It was good. It's kind of like you said. It's kind of emotional for all players, and kind of when you kind of see your career come to an end. Probably a little more emotional for the men's team. Kind of had that. How they had such a historic year last year. Now it's like the whole team is basically now gone from that year, and so I feel like both teams. And unfortunately for the women's team, they didn't even get to play that day.
Yeah, that's true.
That Sol Ross game got canceled. So, the men's finished on the high note. Women kind of had to watch.
Yeah.
So I guess you kind of got not as emotional as it might have been. It's because since they got to kind of, quote unquote, have their senior day at home that Tuesday. And so, I feel like it was a very good day overall though, and kind of great atmosphere. Parents were there, had a little party themselves, so I feel like were happy. And like you mentioned, baseball did graduate 12 seniors.
Yep.
So yeah, like I said, a lot to replace.
Absolutely. It was a fun last 2 weeks here at UTPB.
Oh, yeah.
With all the senior days.
It was very, very busy. Kind of moving on to another program, women's golf, who, man, she's just been, I feel like with only having 4 golfers this year, it's kind of hard. Kind of have success. But hey, they fought. Gabrielle Maldonado had a good year.
Yeah.
You know, Lorena has also had a good year, and Noah was up there as well throughout the year. So
Yeah.
I don't think we have any seniors on that golf program that we're losing really.
Gabriella
is, yeah.
and Noah,
yeah.
I think, are both done.
Yep, that's
so
right.
Coach Chavez talked a lot about what they brought for the program this
Yeah.
year in his first season, and Gabriella in particular led the Falcons in every tournament
Yep.
this spring. Finished 27th at conference this
Yeah.
year, improved from 39th last year. So you can see that. But now building on it with Ella and Lorena, as freshmen coming back for next year. We'll see who he's able to pair with them, and hopefully have a more kind of complete lineup. And go off from there. So just kind of that first season, different playing, coach, playing style, all those types of things, getting used to that. And we'll see how Coach Chavez continues to build the women's program.
Oh yeah, and like you kind of mentioned, two really good golfers that we're losing. I mean,
Absolutely.
both have gotten better since they've been here.
Noah was the newcomer of the year a couple
Yeah.
of years ago. So, we talked about Gabriella, kind of the leader this spring for the team. Not easy to replace for sure. But Lorena had her moments too, though, as a freshman this season. And I'd say the fall, she was kind of taking people by storm. So we'll see if she can build on that rookie campaign for sure.
Oh yeah, and Coach Chavez has proven that he knows how to develop golfers, and so.
And we talked about it before, coming from JUCO, he's used to filling out new teams every year. So, hopefully that can translate here to the D2 level.
Oh yeah, once he kind of wraps up, he'll be kind of full speed go ahead on that. And kind of like on that note, men's golf also racked up their kind of Lone Star Conference Championship tournament with an 8th place finish.
Yep.
Which kind of thought we might finish a little bit higher, and we were trending well, but it's golf.
It's
kind
middle
of
of the
hard.
pack. I mean, they were 7th after the first day, moved up to 6th at one point during the third round, fall back to 8. When you're in 6th there, you're kind of almost flirting with potentially being top 4 and being able to advance to the medal match play. Didn't quite get that done. Obviously, fell back to 8th. To finish their day 2 of the conference championship.
Yep.
But the guy we've talked about all year, Will Tate,
Yep.
finishing tied for 5th, which is good for all tournament honors, and then was also earlier during the week named second team all conference this season. So kind of a great season for him, and he's not done yet.
Oh, not done at all, because he'd be our lone golfer that actually is qualified for the NCAA tournament in the South Central region. So
Yep.
him and Paul will head out to California, kind of get to compete May 8th through the 10th for that.
Yep.
And so it's kind of nice to see that, hey, Will has really turned his season, or his kind of career around, you can sense, from last year to this year, and it's pretty awesome to see.
It's been an incredible season. Like you said, May 8th and 10th, Victoria Club, Riverside, California, as well. He'll be competing for a chance to go to the national championships. And you talked about his season. He's had 4 top 5 finishes this season, which is actually the second most in the career for a UTPB men's golfer behind, I bet you know who's in first.
St. Paul Park?
Yes. So, and to do that, and like I said, that's a career number, but he's done it all this season.
Yeah.
So like imagine if, he was, had another season, or, was able to spread that out a little bit, what he could accomplish. But again, 4 top 5 finishes this year, just a great season for him.
Oh, yeah. And it'll be exciting to kind of see if he kind of can keep his season going, and kind of, you never know really in golf. If you kind of get hot at the right time, he's proven that he can beat top 10 golfers in the nationally ranked. So.
And he's ranked number 16 in the region, looking at it here. So, he'll have a chance if he can finish up there somewhere in the top 5-ish again, like he did at conference at regionals, and beat some people, like you said, then he'll certainly have a chance to make it.
Oh, yeah, and he's one of 32 golfers he'll be competing against, because it's kind of the teams versus the teams, the individuals versus the individuals. I'll say there's 8 individuals in the South Central / West region. So basically, that's just beat out majority of those guys. Only beat 8 guys.
Yep.
And finished either first or second in that.
Top 2 individuals.
Top 2 individuals. So I think he has a good shot. I think he's kind of a higher ranked.
He'll have to play
person.
his best.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But we've seen what happens when he plays his best.
Oh, yeah.
He wins the tournament, so not out of the realm of possibility.
And it probably will help having Coach Chavez with them on every hole.
Yeah.
Kind of help coach him. And you hasn't been released yet. Kind of when we talked about when we sat down and talked further between the two Falcons, he kind of didn't think he needed, and not necessarily that needed, him having the experience, him not having Coach Chavez around didn't really hurt him as much. He kind of mentioned that in a kind of little episode that will be coming out here, probably in a couple weeks. But now you used to kind of have a coach that's kind of talk him through, help him out, kind of be like a caddy to him.
For sure.
And kind of, especially someone like Coach Chavez who has so much experience.
Yeah, and one of my questions I always have for golf, is I wonder if the mindset changes at all when you're competing, as part of your team and you have your team trying to advance versus when you're just an individual. There is nobody else that you're thinking about. It's just you and your score. It may not change much, but I always wonder if it does. Like, does your mentality, because you're not worrying about, I hope my teammates are doing well too. It's just literally all you.
Yeah, that's a good question, because you really don't get to see your team score or your team scores until probably you get back to the clubhouse.
No, you have no idea. You might hear some chatter every now and then, but I think it is in the back of your mind. Like, how are we on this team? Oh, if I hit this, I'll put us this many strokes ahead of this team. Whereas when you're competing in the regionals and it's just you kind of know where you stand.
Oh yeah, I remember last year talking to Senghal kind of similar about that when they won in Hawaii. He wasn't having, I guess, the day he thought he was having. When he kind of got back to the clubhouse, his teammate was all cheering, and he didn't know why until he's like, well, you did this, like we finished here. And so, probably depending on the golfer, you might not be thinking about it, depending on how your day is going. But yeah, each golfer, like you said, is different. So it might be thinking like, shoot, I might be hurting my team.
Paul might try to block that away from him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been great. And kind of another team that has a chance to make it to NCAAs right now, men's tennis.
Yep.
Who'll be competing in the Lone Star Conference tournament here coming up Friday.
Yeah, competed in the semifinals on Friday. No easy challenge, taking on the number 5 team in the country, and Lubbock Christian, who actually did finish as the runner-up in the conference, though, to number 8 UT Tyler. Looking at the scores, though, when we played them earlier this season, I think 4 of the 6 singles matches were 3-setters. So, you kind of flip those scores and you have a chance to win a match right there. So, I'll be interested to see how that all goes. Obviously Lubbock Christian's very good, not to take anything away from them. And we'll see what the impact could be on potential, regionals. Right now, coming in last week was 5th in the region. We'll see if they move up this week, and what it might take to get a bid to that. If you're one and done, does it help you? You may not be able to go. We'll see. Don't know how it all works yet, but at the minimum, I think you want to put your best foot forward against a team like this and show what you're capable of, so that you give the region committee something to think about. Some players, to talk about, well, I guess the player, Jonathan Vega, 2 more wins this week, taking down the number 6 nationally ranked player in Division II in singles. That gives him 5 wins this season against nationally ranked opponents, 4 against NCAA 2 opponents that are ranked in the top 20. So just a fantastic player, fantastic season again. It kind of makes you wonder, what could have been if some of those players last year that were there were back this year, and how dang good they could have been, because they're still doing some really impressive things this season.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like you mentioned, Vega's doing good. Jonas and Crow, for both of them as a doubles team, are doing really good.
Yep. Nationally ranked doubles pair right there.
Yeah, so while it's have a tough matchup, you never know. If they find a way to upset Lubbock Christian, it almost ensures you a spot, I feel like, in NCAA regionals. And even when you just look at just this team, they've proven, like last year, when it was kind of in regionals, but they lost to Midwestern State during the regular season. Then when it came time to kind of crunch time to kind of get that bid to Sweet 16, they beat them and kind of got it. So they've shown that they might be down, but hey, or might be underdog, but they can still get the dub.
And Lubbock just lost the conference title to UT Tyler, so like you have no idea where their mindset's going to be. Are they coming in, upset and kind of pissed off and trying to prove something, or are they kind of like, oh no, what just happened, and maybe their mind's not going to be in the right place. You have no idea. And like I said, just looking at the matches, 4 of the matches going to 3 sets. 2 of the doubles matches are really competitive. I could see a scenario where, again, if you play your best tennis, then you're right there with the chance to try and win it at the end.
Oh yeah.
So
And
we'll see what we talk about all the new head coaches. We'll see how Coach Tolson, how he gets them prepared.
oh yeah, and we didn't really mention it yet, but our men's Tennessee finished third in the conference this year.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
So last year, co-Lone Star Conference champions with Western State. This year kind of didn't fall too far, and they lost a couple good players this year. So
Yep.
kind of good to see that they're still up there in the conference, still one of the 5 teams that made it to the conference this year. Kind of
Yep.
switched the format in there.
Yep.
So they have a really bright future.
Yeah. Match 9 a.m. on Friday in Arlington, Texas, and then the winner would advance 9 a.m. on Saturday to play a championship. And I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty early to try to play
yeah.
some tennis matches for championship purposes. But I guess that's part of the culture.
Yeah, hopefully, I mean, it probably won't be too warm or too hot there at that time.
That's,
so
that's
kind
probably
of
why they're doing it.
probably
yeah.
perfect for them. And then this coming Monday selection show, they'll find out
Got it.
whether or not they're in. I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. So hopefully, depending on how they do, they kind of get that bid. And kind of like you said before, sitting 5th, but maybe kind of us finishing 3rd kind of helps bump us up.
Third in the conference, and
Yeah.
if they can do something here in the tournament,
Hopefully, we
a
get
chance
to at least
move
a
up.
4 and get at least maybe make a kind of sneak in, kind of upset someone again.
Yeah.
Well, shoot,
All right.
I think that is it.
That's the spring season.
That is our spring season. Who knows? We'll kind of be back next week, depending on how our teams do. But it's been season has flown by real quickly. It's crazy that
It'll be football season in no time.
Oh yeah, we already start planning here in a couple weeks. So
That's right.
It'll be crazy to kind of see how that next year go. And spring ball is wrapped up. Everyone's kind of wrapped up and kind of now getting ready to kick the fall season. Also getting ready to enter summer. So once again, thank HGB for sponsoring this podcast this year, and Falcons up.